So this is 2.5. I can add and subtract mixed numbers, part 2. Now, on yesterday's assignment, or I should say on yesterday's notes, you'll see that all the problems that I gave you, they were horizontal. You worked left to right. And that's fine. If this is the way that you like to do your fractions and mixed numbers, please do that. But just to make everybody happy, today, I'm going to write them vertically. If you want to write them horizontally, you are more than welcome to. But I'm going to write them today vertically. But if you want to write them on your paper horizontally, left to right, please do so. Now, I'm going to show you first how textbooks teach you to do this. Okay? The textbooks are going to tell you to turn these into improper fractions. Do you remember how to turn these into improper fractions? Ready? You take these two numbers and you multiply. And what's 2 times 2? 4. And then you take the 4 and you add the numerator to that. And 4 plus 1 is? So you would get 5 over 2. Mac and cheese. Multiply, add, keep. Shh. Multiply, add, keep. Multiply, add, and keep. So negative 2.5 would be negative 5/2. 1 1/3, if we did the multiply, add, and keep, would be 4/3. And now we're right back where we were yesterday, with the exception of a negative here. Common denominator. We multiplied the 2 by 3, so that means we have to multiply the negative 5 by 3, and we get negative 15. We multiplied the 3 by 2, so that means now we have to multiply the 4 by 2, and we get 8. In the numerator, just like we did on our last task, I am going to write on my numerator all 3 of those. And the reason why I do that is just so that I don't get confused. I know definitely now by looking at this that I'm going to subtract. Even though it says to add, I am going to subtract because the signs are different. Thank you. And you can leave your answer as negative 7/6. But you're only going to get a 3. You will not get your 4. In order to get your 4, you'll have to convert this into a mixed number. This is the exact same thing we've been doing.
I don't know why I don't understand. Because he did.
Now watch this. Now I'm going to show you another way to do this. Okay? Dustin, I am recording this right now. Please shut your mouth. Thank you. I'm going to do the same problem. Just a different way to think about this. We still have negative 2.5 plus 1/3. The common denominator is still going to be 6. My numerators are still going to be 3 and 2. Now this is where we need to think. It says to add, right? But you need to stop and ask yourself, are the signs the same or are the signs different? Is the 2 positive or is the 2 negative? Negative. Is the 1 positive or is the 1 negative? Positive. So are the signs the same or are the signs different? What do we do when the signs are different? We subtract. What's 3 minus 2? What's negative 2 plus 1? A lot less work, but you have to do a little bit more thinking. Because you literally are going to have to stop and ask yourself, are the signs the same? Are the signs different? If we look from yesterday, the 3's positive, the 5's positive. The signs were the same, so what did we do? We added. The 9 was positive, the 5 was negative. The signs were different. What did we do? Today, the signs are different. What did we do? We subtracted. So if you can remember that you need to subtract when the signs are different, and that you need to add when the signs are the same, then you can do this second method. But if you don't know the rules, or you get confused about the rules, you might want to seriously consider thinking about doing it process 1, where you turn these into improper fractions and then find the common denominator and the equivalent numerator. That way you get this nice, pretty numerator. Negative 15 plus 8. You know you're supposed to subtract. Subtract them. Okay, number 3. Let's start off with finding a common denominator. We have a 4 and we have a 7. What would our common denominator... Oh, actually, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's do the first method. Negative 5 3/4. What's that as an improper fraction? Good. Negative 23 over 4. And then what about 6 1/7? What is that as an improper fraction? 6 1/7.
43 over 7.
So now what's the common denominator of 4 and 7, Maddie?
28.
Good. Nikaya, what did we do to the 4 to get 28? Good. Ooh, look at this one. Negative 23 times 7. What's that answer?
301.
Negative 161 is very good.
How about the one below it?
And then what did we do to the 7 to get 28, Brooke? And because we multiplied the denominator by 4, we have to multiply the numerator by 4. And what's 43 times 4?
172.
Good. So now I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to put my 28 down here. I'm just highlighting this so that you can see what I'm about to write. Negative 161 minus 172. Because this is a subtraction problem, I'm going to do our keep, inverse, inverse. So this is going to become negative 161 plus negative 172 all over 28. Our 28 is going to stay the same. Denominators always stay the same. They never change. But our numerator, are we going to add or subtract those?
Add.
Why?
They have the same sign.
Because they have the same sign. And we get negative 333/28. And if you want a 3 on your test, you can leave your answer like that. But if you want a 4, we need to turn this into a mixed number. How many times does 28 go into 3?
1.
How many times does 28 go into 33?
1.
How many times does 28 go into 53?
1.
And we get remainder of 25. So our answer is negative 1 and negative 11 and 25/28. Look at all that work. One problem took a half a page. One problem. Took a half a page. That's turning the mixed numbers into improper fractions. Let's try the other method, where we just think about the problem. Okay, ready? Common denominator, 28. Four times 7 is 28. 3 times 7 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 1 times 4 is 4. Are the signs the same or are the signs different? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the 5. Is the 5 positive or negative? Negative. Let's take a look at the 6. Is the 6 positive or is the 6 negative? They're both negative. So what do we do if the signs are the same? We add them. 21 plus 4 is 25. 6 plus 5 is 11. I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. I'm still trying to process all this.
Look at that.
If it's the same thing, then
It is the exact same thing.
if you wrote all this like this, but like sideways, like side to side, I think I could get it.
Well, then let me do it for you, Dustin, so that you get this. Because you are a side-to-side guy.
You're being sarcastic.
I'm always sarcastic.
This side to side guy.
He's a side-to-side guy. He likes to do his math side-to-side. East to west, left to right, horizontal. So watch, Dustin. Common denominator is 28. We're going to still multiply this by 7 and get 21. We're still going to multiply this by 4 and get 4. Now, if you want, because we're working side to side, we can do the keep inverse inverse. Keep inverse inverse. Now, about what? Do you know how I got the 21 and the 4? I'm trying to ask you a question because you don't get it. Please pay attention to the questions that I'm asking you. Do you understand where the 21 and the 4 came from?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall Mr. Meeks, myself, stating to you back in September that when you have a subtraction problem, we are going to do keep inverse inverse for the sole purpose of turning these into addition problems so that we can follow the addition rules. Do you remember me stating that? So that's all I did in my third step. First step, wrote down the problem. Second step, figured out what the numerators are. Third step, keep inverse inverse. Fourth step, ask yourself, are the signs the same or are the signs different? Is that, hold on. Is this 5 positive or negative? Negative. Good. Is the 6 positive or negative? So are the signs the same or are the signs different? The same. According to the addition rules, if the signs are the same, do we add or do we subtract? Add. So we're going to add. What's 21 and 4? What's 5 and 6? If you still don't understand, what part of it don't you understand? Do you know how I got the common denominator? Do you know how I got the 28?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how I got this 21?
Yeah.
Do you know how I got this 4?
Yeah.
Do you know about keep, inverse, inverse?
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure. Because we've been doing it since September, and we're now in January.
I was trying to be sarcastic.
Good.
To be sarcastic, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I understand it as much as I can.
Good. That's not for a lot. We need to understand it a little bit more than what you understand it.
I like at a 2 and 2.3 or something.
Out of what?
Like on the
There's only
heights is a
1, 2,
4,
or 3.
the middle-
And 4.
No, like I'm between 3 and 2 somewhere.
Good. That's where you should be. Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Good. All right. We've got 3 practice problems today.
I need another piece.
3. 3.
Except that I brought another spoon.
No.
We got a lot of them. That's what they were discussing. I write big.
You have a letter. You need another paper.
Yes, please. See, please consider it.
No, he's talking.
I don't know it. Don't just me. Yeah, it's like.
Bless you. Make sure you guys give yourself some space here on your paper. So 2 of them I wrote horizontally and 1 of them I wrote vertically. If you are the type of person that likes them horizontally, write them all horizontally. If you're the type of person that likes to do your math vertically, then write all of these vertically.